there are things that we don't look at the initial stages of our relationship, or there are things that we overlook. We think, oh, this is not such a big deal. Take out money or not. A person who is badly behaved is badly behaved. So if you now add money on top, imagine how that person will be. People keep getting away with treating people badly, especially people they are married to, because they always say, Anna, my wife now, she go there understanding. Something might not look as big to you right now, but like, eventually it's going to become the very thing that will shake the foundation of that you people have. I feel like a lot of people just feel, oh, this man is too good. He looks, too good on paper, or, to everybody that I can't let this person go. Now I'm thinking about it and I'm like, it's better to have said, oh, I feel like poisoning you, or I feel like killing you, than to keep it in your mind and be frolicking with me in a way that makes it seem like we love each other. And then eventually one day you can't take it anymore and then you now kill me.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Rave with Mara podcast. On the show today, I will be talking about a couple of things, and this is because I know you guys missed me. Don't lie. You missed me. If you didn't, I personally missed that I did not have an episode last week. A couple of things happened, but we'll talk about it when we get into the conversation proper. So for now, stay tuned and don't touch your phone. I almost said, don't touch that devil. Yo, you guys got the points. See you after the short break. Welcome back to the show. First of all, I want to understand what is wrong with Abuja cab drivers. Should I say cab or truck drivers? Is the level of, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like those guys play with their lives. But let me get into the story, but just hold on. Let me get into that story. So, 2 weekends ago, I was supposed to pick up a large merchandise from somewhere in Garki down to this place. And so I started to look for a truck driver or anybody who knows somebody who has moved recently and who has the person's phone number. So eventually I got somebody's phone number. I spoke with this person and I said, yo, are you available to pick up this thing? How much is it going to cost? He said, da. And I said, okay, this is how much I can afford. And he was like, let me speak to the other person since it's not just me. I said, okay, no problem. And after a while, he called me back. Oh my God, I just remember this one. He called me back and he was like, okay, where are we picking from? And I said, oh, it's around Sheraton inside and I'm coming back to my area. Where are you guys located? He said, Gwarimpa. And I'm like, oh, okay, when you guys are passing, you can just pick me up. So there's no extra cost or whatever. He now said, okay, no problem. Now, are we going now? And I said, depends on you guys now. And after a while, he now called back. I was like, you know what? It's already past 4, almost 5. Let's just leave it to Sunday. And then on Sunday morning, I called him. We agreed for 10. Yeah, 10 a.m. And then I was still in church at the time. So I just said, you know what? Let me go outside and call him. Because these people now, they will now say, you didn't call them. So they have gone out for another job, that sort of thing. So I went outside and I called him and he was like, oh, no problem. And I told him, see, I'm still in church, but I feel like we should still be able to make it for 11, 12. But anything 11:30, just give me a call. So we are certain that like you're already on your way out of Gwarimpa. And he was like, okay, no problem. So I came back. We had to wait for one of my friends who was still in church. So eventually we ended up dragging that thing till like 12-ish before we were finally able to go pick it up. Now, I don't even want to talk about how they wasted my time and told me they were on the way. And I was standing by my junction for close to 45 minutes. I'm not going to talk about that because that's not the point of this rant I want to give right now. Now, tell me why after everything, we got down there, had to wait for key. Eventually, the person came. We now picked the thing. Then we got into the express and this thing, we hadn't even moved for like 3 minutes and the tire burst. I'm not joking, no. The tire burst, and this idiotic driver kept saying, oh, we can keep going. We can keep I feel like maybe they have 2 lives or they have extra lives that they used to keep at home somewhere and drive out so they can play with someone else's life. Now, when that stuff happened, these guys already felt like the pressure on one side already dropped and some drivers on the road were trying to tell him that, yo, your stuff. And then the guys who followed us to move it were behind the truck. So they were like, yeah, that he needs to stop and all that. And he was like, no, we can go. And eventually when he now said, okay, let him just park to check it. This man now parked. He now said, oh, there's a vulcanizer somewhere here. He just pointed up, like, there's a vulcanizer somewhere here. And we're like, oh, it's not far. He now said, no, it's not far. So they came down. They're losing the stuff. I'm telling you that this thing is espresso. They're losing the tire. And then they went. Now, because it was really sunny, you guys, if you live in Abuja right now, God, my father, I don't know, I don't even want to know what people in the extreme north are going through, because, yo, if you come out in the afternoon right now, it's like the sun is on top of your skin. Literally. And so we were looking for shades, and we had to sit down. We're just moving about, hoping that, oh, these people will come back. After like 20 minutes, I was like, wait, oh, what's going on? 30 minutes, we still hear from these people. I'm not calling this man didn't pick my call. Eventually, he now came. Do you know, we now decided, okay, let's walk towards the direction that we saw them work. And then we kept going and going. And guess what, guys? There was no vulcanizer around that side. Only for us to see them trying to board another vehicle, like a taxi. And then we're like, what's going on? They just told us. And then they left. So I dialed their number. So I was like, did they take, because we had already walked a bit down. So I was like, did they take the cab so that they can be faster? Like, you can drive them faster so they can fix this thing. My partner was telling me that I don't think that's what is happening here. Or that maybe they did not get to fix it. And now, we now walked down. Only for me to turn. I didn't see them. I now called him. He was like, oh, madam, you know, today is Sunday. There are no vulcanizers everywhere. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. We have to go to, where did he say, zone 5. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I called you a day before you're supposed to do this job. Right? If you knew there was something wrong with your vehicle, shouldn't you have fixed it before plying the road with people? I tried to exercise patience for a while. After like 30 minutes, I still didn't see them. See, I think we were outside for like 3 hours. I didn't get back home until like some minutes past 3. And then eventually, he still didn't pick my call, so I had to collect the number for the other guy. And then that one was like explaining that, oh, madam, don't be angry. It's network, blah, 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 and all that sort of rubbish. And then eventually when they came, we had not gotten to Mabushi. I'm not joking. When we started feeling like the tire burst again. Because at the time he was trying to fix it into the vehicle. Even me, I was saying that I don't think there's enough pressure in this thing. He was not saying, oh, don't mind those people, that they didn't put it very well. I was like, I don't understand. Will this thing carry us to my house? He said, no problem, madam, no problem. We now enter this vehicle, only for us to get to around Mabushi. And he said, and he kept saying, no, we can go. I'm not joking, no. This man was dragging this thing. We now got to Nikon Junction. Okay, oh yeah, cross now. He said, no, that was the point I told him, I can't. Because, that iron that is like inside the tire, it started to like really screech on the coal tar. And I'm like, now my life, this man, they use, they play ping pong. I said, I'm not entering, no. After that, I explaining to my partner that, oh guys, see. Do you know that the other one, because there were 3, the other one came out telling my partner that, actually, because my partner understands Hausa a bit, I'm telling him in Hausa that, actually, this tire thing, they've not had a good tire, because even the spare we now try to change on the road, it was the same issue. Like, are you people joking? You're joking with my life. Hey, God. You're joking with my life. And I told them that there's no magic that's going to happen. Because the second tire, they put it and it was still bad. Like, it didn't move for like 10 seconds when the same thing happened. So that was when that one was telling us that he had been telling the Oga that the Oga is very stubborn. Because the way he was even saying is like, nothing they happen. Like, this is not how he said it. But like, I'm trying to explain to you like how somebody will tell you that there's no shaking everywhere. See, guy. The thing, it was just crazy, but eventually I got to my house. Didn't know that I had a headache. Like, I went through a lot, because standing under that sun, was not even funny. Then the whole back and forth we were having to do and stopping and starting and whatnot. We had to get a separate vehicle. And then eventually we took a closer route and came back home. It was not funny. Now that same day, we had planned that all things being equal, right? Ceteris paribus. We're going to get to the stuff, pick it and come back home before 1 o'clock, right? And then I have time to rest. And then I had a job that I was supposed to do. I had a writing I was supposed to deliver to somebody. So I was like, oh, I planned that, okay, if I come back home between that 1 and 5, I'll be able to put the finishing touches to the work and send it to the person. And then by 6, 7, prepare and go out. It was one of our friends' birthday. So we're supposed to go to Duce. Guy, do you know it was the last strength in me that I used to stand up from bed to shower before going out that day. It didn't make I curse those people. Like, both my plans, but like I was overly stressed because how can you be standing under the sun for 3 hours? But anyway, I don't want to tell people that, you see these Abuja people, if people want to carry any vehicle now, especially if it's like you're chartering the person or something, you need to like check that the tires are in perfect condition. If at least if it's the engine that's the problem, the motor don't go start. Or is it the one that was taking us to, before I got my glasses, at this thing at Lugbe, before you get into Lugbe, you know, a driver finished loading vehicle. Eventually, the battery of the vehicle wasn't working. They now kept us inside the vehicle and they were trying to look for another driver that would lend him and borrow him, whatever the English is. Car battery. See, guys, me, I've given up. Both, I have problem with both people. If it's not that they are talking to me in a very derogatory manner, it is that they are telling me, madam, we don't reach for the middle of the road. Now, order a cab, take a taxi, a normal taxi is a problem. You now charter vehicle now, that one wanted to kill me and my partner on the road. Anyway, that's on that. The next thing I wanted to say, yes, the second gist is that birthday party. I'm not going to talk about the birthday party, but it's just a scenario I want to point out to you guys. So, why do men do this thing where, I know like, if you keep a bunch of men together, their first MO is to be childlike with each other. Like, they play, yab each other, and all of that, which is really cool, right? But why do you guys do this thing where there is probably one of you guys who has, I don't want to say has a problem talking to women, but I would say that maybe he's shy, right? And then when you come to a party, everybody's first reaction is to always push women to the person. I don't know why do people do that. Okay, so we went for this birthday and then a couple of people from his work, church, it was just a mix of people. And everybody were having a good time. Only for me to start hearing like that a group of guys had clustered themselves on one end. And when I'm saying guys, maybe you guys are thinking I'm mentioning people that are like in their early 20s. People that are in their late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s. And this is why this group of men gathered. I was going to bring one girl and to come and give this their shy friend. That was not enough. This group of men started to record this boy's reaction. And what I loved the most was the girl's reaction. You know how like you have this really extroverted girl who is out there having a time of her life. Like, when they say she get front, she get back, she carry everything. That's how this babe is, right? Or was, I don't know. And she came to meet him in the front. This guy, you will know that the friends of this boy, funny, he's not the celebrant, he's celebrant's best friend. Yeah. So they had already told the girl, oh, dance or whatever it is that they told her. She just came to meet him where he was seated at the other end of the setup we had. And then she was really dancing, grooving, doing her thing. And the song they were playing was the I get front, I get back. So when they got to the front back, she was really, the guy just sat down there, was looking at her. I was like, even me that is a woman, I want to, but it was just really funny. The entire thing, this group of men videoed their friend and they were telling that they, like right there, they were telling him, look at the nonsense you are doing. What? It was so funny. All the women on the table were just laughing. Like, we laughed so hard. But why do you guys do that? Why do people do that? You cannot even start small. If it's that, okay, you're trying to hook up your guy, but actually start small. This lady was really, and I loved that she had the best time. Cause she would drink, she would dance, she was looking at him like, oh, what's like this kind, I came here for you, that sort of thing. But it was a funny thing. Although that day, because of the stress of this driver, that driver put me through. By the time I got back home, I was extremely tired. In fact, I had a migraine. I had to throw up and all that. I was shivering, I was shaking. Like somebody that puts electric wire in her head. But all in all, I give thanks to God. That's all I would say. Now, to the episode proper. I know that on the audio podcast, before I started doing this audio visual, I had done an episode that I titled The Audacity of Men. But it's like, this episode is still going to be The Audacity of Men, because tell me why, and this is a topic I've spoken about already, but I think that I need to share this woman's story. And somebody was saying, why didn't I ask for her to be on the podcast? You guys, you think it is everybody that likes to, because again, we are badly behaved people. Not just Nigerians, the world, we are all badly behaved people. Sometimes people share some things online and you probably think it's to help other people or just for others to learn from the story. But the truth of the matter is that a lot of people are going to judge them for it and look at them in a certain kind of way. And I get why, like, some women who are going through DV would think about themselves and also think about their husband's reputation, which is a very weird thing. But I get like, people are always worried because they don't want to be seen or perceived a certain kind of way. And I guess people have a right of privacy. But I'm still going to title this episode, The Audacity of Men. Yes, that's what I'm going to title this episode. So, where do I start from? First of all, I have a question for men out there. Why is it that when you're doing bad thing, you know you're doing a bad thing? Because you're not a child. Even children know when they have done something wrong, right? If you're doing a bad thing, you know in your heart of hearts that you're doing a bad thing. So why is the first thing that you do an apology? And then the apology is haphazard because I know that you know that this thing you were doing, you're not supposed to do it. Now, you are only sorry because you've been caught. Not that you're sorry that you did the thing. No. I don't know if you people understand what I'm saying. Men do this thing all the time. Whether it is in cheating, whether it is in DV, they're like, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have hit you. But like, you've done it. Didn't you know that that thing you did was wrong before you did it? And you guys, please spare me the whole crap of, is in the spawn of hits. Or, I didn't know when I reacted. Please, you guys. Anyway, so, the story is that, I don't know how many of you guys have watched Fair Play. If you haven't seen it, maybe you not relate as much to why I brought it up, but now, I went to make my hair. I went to make Didi 2 weeks ago now, right? And I was listening to I Said What I Said podcast, where they were talking about boundaries, setting boundaries or creating boundaries with I think it's the episode with Dima. No, I don't think it's the episode. I'm not sure anymore. Anyway, but I think they were talking about the story of the lady who had written it to say that she was a 30 plus, she was 30 plus and that she got pregnant for her boyfriend. And the family are sort of sitting on her head and blah, 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 and thinking about their own reputation and all that. And I was playing it out loud. I do that, like, because not a lot of people know podcasts, right? So whenever I go into a space where I'm going to be sitting for a long time, I randomly play either my podcast or the podcast that I really love. And I Said What I Said podcast, right? So I do that. And she was like, what's that? Is that radio? And now, so I begin to explain that, oh no, this is not a radio. This is this, and blah, blah, blah. And so, when they were saying, I was saying that, even with families, I get that like, a lot of people think that every family is closely knitted, But not all families are closely knitted. And whether we like it or not, your reality is not the same for a lot of people. And I was, in between that, I was also giving my own commentary, like, oh, there is a certain stage you get to in your life that you have to make your parents, your siblings, and everybody else understand that you are informing them about a situation, not because you need their inputs, but like you're telling them because they are your parents and you need them to know. You don't need their consent to do certain things, because I feel like maybe in Africa or in Nigeria, we always think that our parents have the right to influence our actions after a certain age. You guys don't come for me, because this is my ideology and this is what I believe in. Parents, we are coming to realize in this new age that parents don't know everything. And as I am like this, if I give birth to a child, I know fully well that I don't know everything. But we have also found out that a lot of parents, it's hard for them to learn or relearn certain things, because they feel like, oh, the people are just bringing things because you're learning with 21st century knowledge and yada, yada, yada. Now, another conversation came up, and we start to talk about how families can be so somehow, blah, blah, blah. People will put their life on hold because of families. People will do this and do that, while the base of love for families is sacrifice and an everyday commitment, like a forever commitment. It doesn't take away the fact that, like, when your family members begin to disrespect you, you have a right to take yourself out of the equation, especially if you have told them that, you see, this thing you're doing is not something that I can put up with. But as a child, I'm going to keep, respecting you and showing you my obligations or giving my obligations to you and whatever. But as per decisions about my personal life, I can tell you that, oh, I want to travel out. It is not your place to tell me, oh, don't travel out. Especially if I'm not asking you for the money. And if I'm asking you for the money and you think, oh, because you are my parents and I don't want you to do this, you can't give me. That's your choice. You don't have to. Right? And so while that conversation was going on, we started to talk about family and all that and all that. And eventually, this lady started to tell me, because she's not Nigerian, right? She's from Cotonou. But her grandmother is Yoruba. So she had come to live with the grandmother when she was really young. And so because she has, there's this thing where, like the way I am now, people look at me most of the time, I think I'm a teenager, right? Because of how I look and how my face looks like a child's, right? But there are people who look a little bit older than their actual age, right? And right now, please, I'm a scientist, but please don't hold this thing against me. I don't know what that is. There's a hormone that's responsible for that, but I can't think about it right now. And so she said when she became a teenager and her husband started to cut her, people, of course, would always talk, why are you dating this person? She looks too uneducated for you. She's ugly. She's this, she's that, blah, 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 blah. And I don't want to give excuses that this is the reason why this man decided to treat her this way. But I wanted to give you guys the story the way she told me the story. Alright, so stick with me. Now, inside all of that, the man decided, oh, I will marry you, and blah, blah, blah. And he married her. And eventually, they relocated to Abuja. Now, this lady is a hairdresser, obviously. And this man works in a company in Abuja. Now, she said that she didn't know. Okay, when she started working, she got a shop, puts puts, what's it called, a freezer, so she can be selling drinks as well. Got a big generator, did a bit of this and that from the money she has realized. Now, what started to happen was that her husband would randomly come and beg her for money. Like, basically, loan me this amount of money. Please, can you loan me this amount? I'll pay you back at the end of the month. And then, because she's not Nigerian, she had a bit of a problem with giving her, what's it called? She didn't have any identity. Because now she has absorbed the Nigerian to be a Nigerian. But because she's not actually Nigerian, she didn't have any, and they started living here when she was a child now, basically. So she doesn't have any, what's it called, ID card to sort of open a bank account. So this man told her that, I would be saving your money for you. Now, outside of that, saving of the money for her, he also comes to her to sort of lend money every now and then. Partners do this thing all the time where they're like, oh, I don't have money to go to work this week. Can you loan me 10,000 naira? Or, we want to cook. There's no money right now. Can you loan me some amount of money? I promise to give you back at the end of the month once my salary comes. You know, that sort of thing. So now, she now said that at the end of every month, when she gives this man, like, the amount, oh, this is the amount of money that I should have in my accounts now, right? And this is the amount of money that you loaned from me. Can you please put the money in that account so that I'll have a total of this? This man will start to say, to gaslight her, basically. Oh no, where did I loan? And she's very dramatic. So the way she was even explaining the scene to me it was funny at the same time it wasn't funny. And it was like, oh, she calls her husband her son's name, like daddy, so and so. Yeah, she was like, that's our daddy. This said, oh, I know. What do you mean? That's, are you sure? You didn't calculate this thing well. When did I loan this money from you? What? And eventually, you end up paying her half of the money. Now, one time she wanted to make a big purchase of something for her shop. She now asked this man for money. This man said that the money she gave him is not up to that amount. You know why this thing makes sense to me? Because my mother and my father used to have something like this, but it wasn't the place of they did not give her own money. I know that when women give people money, they have a book where they write it down. So back in the day, my mother used to have a book where she writes down every amount of money she makes for the day. Like, women are good accountants. Forget it. Women are good accountants. A woman, especially with her money, she's not going to make that mistake that, maybe I added an extra zero by mistake, or I removed an extra zero. It doesn't happen with women's money. I'm sorry. And so this man, she said that this man would tell her, no, that money is blah, 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 blah. Eventually, he will give her half of the money. Now, this has been going on for years. They've been married for 15 years. This thing keeps happening. And she says anytime she's making braid, and braid is expensive. You have to pay for the, extension. And then you also now have to pay for the hair itself and all that. So that anytime he notices that like there are 3-4 people in the store, right? And he knows that money is going to come out. He will just come and camp in the shop and sit down on the couch and be saying, oh, I'm waiting for you. Mommy, this, I'm waiting for you. Would you please, I need the money, blah, blah, blah. Or sometimes you're not like, I'm waiting for you so that you won't spend the money. Let me help you and keep the money. Now, I remember that I had talked about demolition in Gishiri on one episode, whether it was the one on friendship with Sally or the one with Rachel on friendship breakup, I can't remember. But there was a demolition that occurred in Gishiri. Now, I go inside Gishiri to make my hair. And this lady was telling me that when they were demolishing places, she was, comfortably in her store and all that because their house wasn't there. And they're living in a rented place, mind you. And then her shop wasn't affected as well. And she went to the market. I bet she went to church or something like that. And a lady came to meet her. That, sorry, your husband's properties, they got demolished. She was like, I don't understand. She will go again, person will come to the shop to greet her. Like, hey, I'm so sorry, your husband's house, blah, 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 it got demolished. Eventually, she found out that this man had 3 different properties. 3 different properties. They've been married for more than 15 years. She had no idea. She didn't know. Now, apart from that, the fact that she didn't know, because I know, you people already know my stand on this thing. I'm not asking you to dash me your money. If you have decided that the way you want to be married is that everybody should own properties of their own. But an outsider should not be the one telling me that my properties, my husband, our properties, thinking that my husband is a sensible person. She said she didn't when she started to cry. So apparently, this man was stealing in capital. He was stealing from his wife. Do you know the effort that goes into standing to braid people's hair? Ordinary that I used to braid our last one's hair every once in a while. The way I used to complain. I used to complain. And this one, we say, I sit down to do it too. But this lady stands for an entire day. Sometimes she doesn't close until 12 midnight because of, she's trying to, you build properties. Cause she was even like, one time she had asked him that, what do you do with your own salary? Do you understand? I found out that the man he used to tell people outside that he used to stock the house, buy cartons of these, bags of rice, and blah, 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 blah. And this happened because she had asked him for money for food, and he said he didn't have to give her. Now she went out, and somebody was saying, one of these men who are almost always drunk, right? And he was like, your husband is a very nice person. This is not the first time that this thing is happening. That, he came to where I was having a bottle, and I was like, I just put my hand in his kaftan, whatever, and removed a bundle of money. And he just collected the bundle of the money from me. He was like, oh, okay, the money is not even a loss. And he left 5,000 naira from me. Your husband is a very nice man. I'm not even the only one he does this thing for. May God bless him and blah, blah, blah. And this lady is like, I've said this thing where people used to say women have money, they want their money to be their own and blah, 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 blah. I put it to you that I know men who will tell you, in short, they will swear to you that they don't have any money because they know that their wife have received salary. I also know men whose wives' businesses have been run to the ground because he no longer drops money for food stuff. Everything now, they will go to the wife's shop to pick the things. And again, when you bring the list at the end of the month, they'll tell you, didn't you eat part of the food? I'm not saying wives don't support your husband though. But you see this attitude where men always put I. If you say, let's have a certain percentage, contributing rent, contributing food stuff, I don't have a problem with that. But you see this thing where men are so bitter with themselves that they cannot do without wrecking their wives. You are evil. In short, you are a devil. This woman said she cried. Work that she's been doing for more than 20 years, she's not been able to boast of a property. Because she's been doing, in quotes, understanding wife. Somebody has asked me what we mean by understanding girlfriend, understanding wife. If you don't know, please go and Google. And I've also talked about it on this podcast. She was doing understanding wife. My husband doesn't have enough. And then she had asked him, okay, your own job, what do you do with the money? And then he will explain, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to send money home, and blah, 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 blah. And she just kept feeling, okay, it go better one day. She go need that for money, they pray for this man, may God bless him. Meanwhile, she don't know, say, this man was actively never wanting her to stand on her own. So I was asking her that, so how has she rectified? She said, that it was just last year that somebody came to meet her. All these marketers that walk around and try to help SME owners and blah, blah, blah. And so she's been able to create a bank account. And that if she had known all along, she would have even been able to do this thing. The last, it's not just to claim her husband's village and whatnot. And I was just really like, God. Every time I say this thing that men are evil, people look at it like, where are you meeting these sort of men? But I assure you that these men, they are living amongst us. They are amongst us. They are even some of your friends that you think they are so posh or tush. Some of them are like that. They don't want their wives to have money of their own. They don't want them to be financially independent of them. Whatever money they have, they will still chook their witchy eye inside the money until you are back to begging them for money. If you're a woman, in my language, they will say, "Edowo tag agada." Like, you folded your hands and put in between your thighs. It means that you're a lazy person. You don't want to work. Right? Your husbands will yab you. They'll report it to everybody and tell them, oh, you just want to be a housewife. Oh yeah, start business now. Now those same men will help you wreck that business. Tell me why a man would be so angry
So evil to the point that he doesn't want his own wife to have money of her own. And you went to go and get 3 different properties, rented them out to people. They are paying you money. And inside of that, you're still collecting money from your wife. I say this thing every time where I'm like, if you're dating a person, I know that like people say, oh, I don't know what you are. Maybe you're not emotionally intelligent, that you can't know that your husband is a certain way. I know that like, I've said also on this podcast that my partners told me of one of their neighbors back in the day whose husband lied that he was an officer because the wife had said that she wanted to marry an officer. This guy was a recruit. And he lied that he was an officer just to marry this woman. You know, this woman didn't find out that she had given birth to, I think, 2 or 3 children. So I know that there have been instances where men pretend. But like, they are also one of those little things that gives them away that, well, because we are so in love with these people, we don't realize that. And this applies to both men and women. There are traits that the partners will exhibit that you know that if I end up with this person, I don't enter problem. Especially if those things are deal breakers for you. This woman legit just wants to have a business and be able to take care of her one child. But to do that one, to live all right, now it's not like you're even giving her money. Because again, they'll come out. Like, why do men even do that thing where you're telling people outside that, your wife, no, they complain, your wife, they enjoy. Meanwhile, it is your wife who is even carrying the load at home. Why do men do that? Fine, you have a good job. You are working at a good place. But like, waiting people, they always talk, where they make them enter that part of the conversation. And then one woman came to me. I know how we women can be so curious. I think whether she came to beg or something, I was like, that your husband said he bought a full bag of rice in December and this is just January. So I think you should still have enough. She said, you know what? Enter into my kitchen. If they bought a bag of rice in December, maybe by now it will still be remaining now. How much rice you want take chop? And then she was like, because there's nothing in the house. She's the one who has to take money out of her this thing to feed the family. And then when she asked him to bring money so they can buy food off him, but he gaslights her, but you are outside spending money on people. And it's that thing again, because they've done it to me. In short, they've done it to me, where they are telling you at home that they don't have money. Maybe you make a request and you're like, oh, I'm craving this certain thing. This is not even that. I'm saying, come and buy me bag. Or come and buy me. This is like a simple request of, I'm craving something. And then your partner looks at you and tells you, you know my situation. I don't have anything right now. And you're like, you know what? Let me just give you money so you help me order it or something. Right? Now tell me why that same day, this person went out and met one of our friends and that person asked for the same thing. And in order to save face, he ended up buying that thing. So technically, you knew a way to get that stuff. But because your babe is your babe or your wife is your wife, you don't think she deserves. See, the way I'm saying this thing, I feel like it's really weird that before somebody shows you their true color, before you get to, oh, this thing is a red flag. My friend Helen was telling me that somebody was talking about yellow flag, that there are just certain things that this person does. And me, because again, I am very confident in what I want and in what I don't want. People around me know what I like, what I don't like. And it trickles down into as much as food, as much as fruit. If my friends are coming to my house and you're like, I saw this thing, but you know as they do sometimes, I know sure say you will like this thing, I just say make I buy them. Like, people around you need to know that there are certain things about you that people should not be joking with. Whether it's in the name of family members, or in the name of friendship, or in the name of partner, or in the name of I must marry, or in the name of I don't think I'm so good looking. I'm telling you guys that no matter how you think you are, or no matter what you think your look is, there's somebody out there who is looking for that exact same thing that you are. So it's the idea of this, we don't think so much of ourselves. So if somebody comes our way, even if we know that this person's character is bad for us, be it man or woman, we accept them. Just because we think, oh, time they go, our mates don't marry finish, and all that rubbish. People
will jump high, like really high, to save face outside. But with your wife, you expect understanding. Understanding should be there. Compromise should be there. But there's a level to which you start to act that you know that you are a wicked person. You yourself, you know that you're a wicked person. I said I heard this lady's story that day. I was like, God. And prior to that, I had just seen Fair Play. Yes. And I was talking about it with my friends, Helen and Susan. Right? And I was just really like, God. When we watch movies sometimes and you're trying to talk to somebody about it and somebody tries to shut you up to say that, oh, now movie, no, they happen for real life. I'm gonna lie you. Every little thing that happens in real life is what trickles down into the books that we write, is what trickles down into the movies that we watch, into entertainment. It's people's realities. It's people's realities. And we women, we need to start doing a lot for ourselves. The same thing, the same way that stories are coming out this week on how people should not marry down, blah, 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 blah. I think that not a lot of men can handle women who make a lot more money than them. I don't want to talk about that story because I also have my own personal opinions and I don't want to talk about it because I don't like that video. I don't like the video. I'm sorry for the domestic violence and physical abuse and verbal abuse and all that, but I don't like the video in itself and I'm not going to talk about it. But what I'm focusing on in that video, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then, well, so be it. What I'm focusing on is the fact that I actually do agree that not a lot of men can handle a woman who makes a lot more money than them. And for a reason, they expect you to carry the family alone because you are earning more than them. Or for a reason, they now think, oh, I don't owe you anything anymore. Which is the reason why men will say that women hide their money from them. And of course, because they know that you are egotistical and you can't handle a woman who makes more money than you. Neither can you handle a woman whose career is blossoming more than you. Because tell me, I feel like this episode, I didn't plan for it to be this long, but like, here we are. Here we are. Men, you need to do better. If genuinely you know that if your woman is earning more than you can't handle it, please be upfront about it. There's no shame in it. Something else happened, maybe I'll talk about it next week, where like there are some difficult conversations that when I hear sometimes I'm like, I don't think I can say this to a person, but I think about it again and I'm like, I feel like it's better to actually say it. Maybe because I've never experienced something like that, and so it was strange to me when I heard it. Like, how can you tell your friend this sort of thing? But like, now I'm thinking about it and I'm like, it's better to have said, oh, I feel like poisoning you or I feel like killing you, than to keep it in your mind and be frolicking with me in a way that makes it seem like we are besties, we love each other. And then eventually one day you can't take it anymore and then you now kill me. Please tell me. At least when you tell me, I know how to be cautious around you. Or I know how we can both get help for you. Do you understand what I mean? So if you know that you can't handle a woman who makes more money than you, please, I beg, be upfront about it. Don't do, oh, I think or this is the new thing. I thought I could handle it. And maybe, yes, there is a way that some women start to act when they earn more than their partners. I've also seen it happen in real life. But again, there's a thing with, take out money or not. People are badly behaved, right? So if you're with a person who is a badly behaved person, forget the money. A person who is badly behaved is badly behaved. So if you now add money on top, imagine how that person will behave. So man or woman, I just feel like there are things that we don't look at the initial stages of our relationship, or there are things that we overlook. We think, oh, this is not such a big deal. But I bet you, like, if you put those things together, it's like you say, oh, you cut my fingernail today. Tomorrow you cut this part. One day you go remove my fingernail now. So something might not look as big to you right now, but like, eventually it's going to become the very thing that will shake the foundation of that you people have. Because technically, I feel like a lot of people just feel, oh, this man is too good. He looks, too good on paper, or, to everybody that I can't let this person go. A lot of men know what they are looking for in women, and they are very unashamed about it when they go out there. It's we women that starts to do, oh, I can compromise. And somehow men also push it down to us in a way when they say stuff like, oh, your standard is too high. See, those men also have standard, and that's the reason why they know that your standard is too high, but they want you still. So men will never drop their own standard for anything, but they expect you as a woman to drop your own standard. So please, I keep saying this thing every time. I say it on this podcast every time. As a person, man or woman, you need to have your non-negotiables and negotiables in every relationship. You have to set the tone of what you want. This same thing applies to family members, both extended and nuclear. You have to set the tone, even friendship, of what you want, how you want to be addressed. So that the people begin to understand that if you mess with me on this level, I go treat your fuck up. Because I feel like people keep getting away with treating people badly, especially people they are married to, because they're just Anna, my wife now, she go there understanding. Okay, this is where I will end this episode today. I did not mean for this thing to be really long, but unfortunately, here we are again. Here we are. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for sharing. I'm saying this thing. I'm telling you thank you in advance because I know most of you don't used to share this thing. Most of you don't like it. Most of you don't comment. I'm begging you people. I've been begging you people since. I want to get this thing monetized. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not shouting anymore. Please like, please subscribe. Please share, please comment. Anything you need to do, please do. Also, listen to the audio on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, is Rave with Mara podcast on every podcasting platforms that there is. On YouTube, it is Mara Abutu. So yeah, we'll see you next week. Thank you and bye-bye.